the refrains, little Buck Owens and Dwight Yoakam. It's time to talk with our former governor, former senator, and somebody who wants to have a debate with our current governor. That's George Allen. He joins us every Friday here on News Radio WRVA. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you. Happy Good Friday.
Happy Good Friday to you and to your family. Well, sir, I'm willing to have a debate with you anytime, any place, anywhere. Unfortunately, Her Excellency Abigail Spanberger has decided that she doesn't want to take you up on the offer. Tell our listeners who haven't been watching or following this where you came from, the offer, and then the rebuttal.
Okay. Last week, I invited Governor Spanberger to 3 debates in person. I think our representative democracy is built on the concepts of integrity and transparency and not hiding behind $40 million in deceptive ad spending on this issue of gerrymandering, which is so unusual, abnormal to be doing it mid-decade and substantially affecting literally everyone in Virginia, but especially millions who are put into far-flung, drastically changed districts, and some being disenfranchised in effect because you have rural and outer suburban areas being thrown in with densely populated Northern Virginia. And that's everyone from the Shenandoah Valley to the outer suburbs of Richmond, places like Powhatan, Goochland, Louisa, Hanover, New Kent County, and all these rural counties on the Northern Neck and Middle Peninsula, and even the peninsula up against the Chesapeake Bay, again, dominated by Northern Virginia. And in fact, the Hampton Roads Tidewater area goes from 3 seats, 3 representatives, to 2, with one of them going to Northern Virginia. So all of this is a bit confusing. It's unusual, and I think it helps the people to hear both sides of it. The governor, through a reporter with the Times-Dispatch, said no, she didn't want to do it. She's looking at too many bills and this, that, and the other. So I'm announcing right here on WRVA, on your morning show, my latest. And what I wrote Governor Spanberger yesterday afternoon, that I was disappointed that she declined my invitation for debates on this proposed constitutional amendment that would allow this amendment is allowing politicians of the General Assembly to draw new congressional district lines in Virginia. Now, she said that she's so busy with bill review. And so I said, I fully appreciate the intensity of bill review. Having been through that 4 times myself, but it was anticipated at the time that she signed the legislation that set April 21st as the date of this referendum. So you knew it's going to run into the same thing of bill review. But I think the voters of Virginia, what I wrote, have even less time to be aware that a vote is even taking place, let alone time to consider the proposed significantly changed districts. And they haven't had a chance to hear both sides of this unprecedented action. And in consideration, I wrote, of your schedule, and more importantly, in consideration, what I am sure is our mutual respect for the voters of Virginia, I would like to renew the invitation to debate on very simple terms. Let's agree to a 1-hour publicly televised virtual debate. You choose the date, you choose the moderator. And I've concluded by saying a civil and reasoned discussion of the issues will benefit the voters and will set a positive example of integrity and how public issues and policy can be discussed in our Commonwealth. So I wish her good luck in the rest of her bill review, and bill reviews all over by April 13th. Heck, April 15th, we could have a virtual debate on April 15th. That's a day that a lot of government people really like because it's tax day. So to me, this accommodates her concern, and I think overriding all of this is that this is a very significant vote where people are being asked to disenfranchise themselves or affect their voices, and there's communities, disparate communities thrown together. I think good leaders should be confident in whatever stand they have, and let the people, the owners of the government, the voters, have an opportunity to hear both sides, and then they make their judgment, but it's an informed decision.
You're listening to an exclusive interview with Governor George Allen, joining us here on News Radio WRVA on this Friday, April 3rd. He has reissued an invitation for the current sitting governor, Her Excellency Abigail Spanberger, to debate him anytime, any place, anywhere. It could be virtual. It could be after she's done reviewing bills, and he wants to sit down, have a conversation with her. Sir, somebody asked us a little bit earlier today, well, why does she have to debate you? Why is she challenging you? You're just a citizen of the Commonwealth of Virginia right now. How would you react to that?
Well, I'm a part of a bipartisan group called No Gerrymandering Virginia, and we're made up of Democrats, principal Democrats like Chap Peterson, former state senator from Northern Virginia, good person of integrity, Brian Cannon, who's a Democrat activist in many respects. He and I went all around Virginia in 2019 and 2020 in support of this, the constitutional amendment that we have in Virginia that said we're going to take this redistricting out of the hands of conniving politicians and have an independent bipartisan commission decide the districts. And the districts that we have presently from the Princeton redistricting process out of Princeton University, Virginia is graded A. It's one of the fairest, one of the 4 or 5 fairest in the whole country. And what they're trying to do with this gerrymandering deal is obviously the politicians are drawing these districts that look like ostriches and lobsters and squid and giraffes and all the rest, and I shouldn't say completely disenfranchising, but there's millions of people who are thrown into districts that are dominated by completely different type of environments. So the point is that our No Gerrymandering Virginia group wanted to have debates, and they said, all right, well, why don't you do it? And it's something that I care passionately about. It's something I'm familiar with. Heck, I got gerrymandered out of my House of Representatives seat when back in 1991. Susan and I lived in a log house in the woods on a gravel road in northwestern Albemarle County. No one could ever find our house. It's hard to find, but the Democrats did, and they stuck me in, and it split my district 5 different ways and put me in with Tom Bliley of Richmond. And so I've been a strong advocate for this fairness in redistricting, where the people decide their representatives rather than politicians deciding who they want to rig elections with. And if here we are on the 250th anniversary of our Declaration of Independence from the British monarchy, and now you got these outside interests from D.C. and New York and California piling $40 million into these deceptive ads and trying to inveigle the good people of Virginia to do away with fair districts. And we're a small group of.
You're a small group that's being You're a small group that's being outspent by a lot. Governor George Allen joining us here.
You got to be resourceful. You got to be creative, and I think this is a way of bringing more information. What's wrong with more information, educating people more? And I think it would get it should. I would hope it would get some attention. Governor Spanberger, at one point, in fact, we ran an ad, our digital ad, our No Gerrymandering Virginia group, that had Abigail Spanberger's statement that gerrymandering is detrimental to democracy. She was right on that principle when she said it, and I think the voters, the people, ought to know why she changed her position on that. In fact, she said in the campaign she had no intention of changing districts. In fact, she won the second and first congressional districts. So why do they need to cheat to try to win elections? It must mean that they don't have a whole lot of confidence in their candidates or the popularity of their ideas, that they have to rig elections to get the results they want rather than in a fair way of doing it. And to say, oh, this is temporary, it's six years that you're going to have these rigged districts. That's a long time to have rigged, cheating districts. And at any rate, I'm sure that the governor may have some answers to that. But I think it's important for the voters on something that is so really vital to representative democracy, that they hear a virtual debate. People can get on their laptop or their PC or watch it on TV, but it could be a virtual debate. She doesn't have to leave the governor's mansion or the governor's office. It'd take 1 hour, and you'd hear both sides of it, and I think it would be very beneficial to the voters, the people of Virginia, who are the owners.
And again, you're listening to Governor George Allen joining us here on News Radio WRVA with an exclusive interview right now. The governor has rebuffed his original invitation to have 3 debates over gerrymandering. He learned through the Richmond Times-Dispatch that she wasn't interested. She was busy with bill review, which the governor said he understands. But now another offer with you this morning here on News Radio WRVA. Anytime, any place, anywhere. You choose the moderator. We'll do it virtually. You don't have to leave the governor's mansion. We'll work around your schedule, and we'll see if she responds back. Sir, I want to layer one more thing on here because I was looking around, and like I said, we've had different people say, well, why does she have to debate George Allen? George Allen isn't in office anymore. But I look at it this way, sir. I look at it as the governor of this Commonwealth who has thrown her full-throated support behind this gerrymandering. Guy Benson actually tweeted out that he believes that she might even have donated to the yes on the gerrymandering bill the way that Tim Kaine, and we've seen the reports now that Tim Kaine and Mark Warner have each donated $100,000 in support of this. I would like to see our elected officials, especially the head of this Commonwealth, be accountable. If you're going to come out in full-throated support, I think whether you're going to debate George Allen, Rich Herrera, or anyone else, you pick any of the members of the House of Delegates, the House of Senate. Heck, I'd like to see her have this conversation with an average American citizen to explain why we want to have predetermined congressional districts that guarantee 10 votes for Hakeem Jeffries and 1 vote for the Republicans. You're talking about not just gerrymandering, you're talking about fixed elections where 10 Democrats are guaranteed to win. You disenfranchise the Republicans in those 10 districts. You disenfranchise the Democrats in that 1 district. I think she needs to explain this, especially when she's starring in these TV commercials.
Right, and just hiding behind $40 million of deceptive ads. And I'm not saying the ads they're well-produced ads, but they're very deceptive and deceitful. In fact, even the language on the ballot, the way the whole thing has been rammed through is unusual and abnormal, and in my view, not following the law and the constitutional amendment process. But whether she to argue about, well, who should she debate? Well, she hasn't offered to debate anyone else. No one else has bothered to challenge. We're kind of our band of no gerrymandering Virginians. Again, it's a relatively small group, but we're bipartisan, and we think we represent the principles that could, in our view, not just have each side, the Republicans versus Democrats, but fair-minded people, independents, reasonable Democrats, reasonable libertarians, and people of all different backgrounds, regardless of their ethnicity or race, just thinking, wait a second, the current districts that we have right now are fair, and many of them are very competitive. And why does one side need to abnormally cheat? And to blame all of this on, well, Trump did this and Trump did that. And I think President Trump was wrong to force or try to, and getting Texas to do it. I was on your show, and you and I, Rich, discussed the more admirable principled leadership of the Republicans in Indiana, who under a lot of pressure from President Trump and others said, no, we are not going to do this gerrymandering mid-decade. And those folks are now facing still continuing to face political heat from Republicans, but they did the right thing, as did Republicans leading in South Carolina, Kentucky, Kansas, New Hampshire, who said no. So there are bad examples of North Carolina and California and Texas and Missouri, but there's equal numbers of states that said, no, we're not going to do that. Heck, even Maryland, the Democrats in Maryland, there's some of the legislature that said, no, we're not going to knock out a single Republican in the Eastern Shore part of Maryland. So let's in Virginia, we have a higher standard. It's not just that we think better of ourselves. The fact is, in Virginia, 2/3 of the voters, just a little over 5 years ago, 2.7 million Virginians voted for the constitutional amendment that said that redistricting will be done by an independent, bipartisan commission, not by conniving, cheating, self-dealing politicians. And so that's what the Democrats are trying to do. And these are mostly national Democrats, these monarchical elitist power grabbers from Northern Virginia are trying to get Virginians to do. And so I think Virginians, if they know the facts, know the information, understand what these new maps are. The proponents don't even want to show people the maps. That's evidence in itself.
And nobody wants to tell us who drew up the maps. Sir, I'm going to throw this.
They drew it up. It's politicians in the General Assembly are the ones who drew up the maps. And so let's just make sure that the people are informed, are educated, and then they make a decision, and you abide by that decision. Then you go to the courts if necessary.
Sir, here's what I'll tell you. I'll leave you with this. As you issue this invitation for Governor Spanberger to have a virtual debate against you anytime, anywhere, any place, sir, I'll volunteer to facilitate this. I will set this up to be able to be carried live on YouTube. I will take care of all the arrangements for it. I will personally see to it that we can put this on. I'll be able to stream it where you're sitting and wherever you happen to be. She could be wherever she happens to be. I'll stream it on WRVA's YouTube channel. I'm not asking to moderate it, but I will facilitate the entire thing. That all you have to do is click on a link on your laptop. She could do the same, and I'll make this happen.
That's great. In fact, what I said, all I'm asking for is one honest virtual debate for the people of Virginia. One honest virtual debate for the people of Virginia, I don't think is too much to ask of a governor who wants to lead with integrity and in consideration and respect for the people.
And we'll make it easy. Again, you said she can choose the time, the place, the moderator. I will facilitate making that happen for you, sir.
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you so much.
We've gotten offers. I'm not going to bring up a regional chamber of commerce said, well, we'll host this debate. This is before the virtual debate. Maybe they'll host this as well. But I hope the governor will respectfully say yes, and we'll figure out a way to do this, to have this one honest virtual debate for the people of Virginia.
Sir, thank you very much. We'll catch up with you next week.
All right. Have a good Easter weekend,
You
Rich.
too. Happy Easter to the entire Allen family, especially to your wife. I'll talk to you soon. That's Governor George Allen joining us here in exclusive. He's issued a new challenge to the current governor of Virginia, a virtual debate anytime, any place, anywhere. You choose the moderator, and I personally will facilitate that on YouTube. We'll play it on our YouTube channel. I'm not offering to be the moderator, but I will facilitate making this whole thing happen. You have my promise right there. All right. Coming up on the program, Dave Saunders will join us here on News Radio WRVA. Real quick, let me remind you that A-Plus Windows is a family business. They're local right here. But Billy Kane, he's just a guy of integrity. He's a guy that walks in. He's not looking to try to rip you off or upsell you or put any pressure on you. He's going to come in. He's going to take a look at your windows. He's going to tell you whether you need new ones. Then he's going to invite you to come down to the showroom and let you take a look to see what a new window entails, how much it costs, and gives you all the details so you can make the right choice. Call him right now, 804-303-4136, 804-303-4136. Find him online at apluswindows.com.